Hi everyone, it's a new day. So we have to figure out, we have to do our calendar and we have to figure out what our number is for our new day. So everybody count with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Comes after 7. 8. 8 comes after 7. Right? So I need to write 8. All right. Now we need to figure out how we're going to mark our day. What is our pattern? We have triangle, circle, square. Triangle, circle, square. Triangle, circle. You're right. But what color is it going to be? You have blue, triangle, red circle. So you need to make a red circle to mark off day number 8. Right? And a circle is round. It has no sides or corners, no edges, nothing like that. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and do our Days of the Week song. Remember, you can either clap or you can snap during our Days of the Week song. Here we go. Ready? Days of the Week. 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 There's Sunday and there's Monday, there's Tuesday and there's Wednesday, there's Thursday and there's Friday, and then there's Saturday. Days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week. All right, so let's go to our number 8 and go straight up, and we'll find out today is, let's see, there's Sunday and there's Monday, there's Tuesday and there's Wednesday. It's kind of hard to see up there, but it does. It says Wednesday right here. All right. Now, we have our month. Who remembers what our month is called? Starts with what letter? A. You're right. A. A looks like this in sign language, right? So it's April. 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 There you go. April. All right. Let's go ahead and everybody stand up. And we're going to do our month song. Ready? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and August, September, October, November, and December. These are the months of the year. One more time. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, and August, September, October, November, and December. These are the months of the year. Have a seat. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure out what our entire date is. So let's see. We said today was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. All right, so we said it was Wednesday, and our month was called April. So Wednesday, April. And what's our number? 8. You've got it. 8th. So our entire date is Wednesday, April 8th, and our year is 2020. The letter we're talking about this week is the letter X. Now, do you remember what sound letter X makes? X. Like you're putting the K sound and the S sound together really fast. X. Or you're saying the word kiss. Super, super fast. X. Yep, letter X. Okay. And, let's go over our Bible verse for today. Well, for the week. Our Bible verse is Proverbs chapter 20, verse 11. Ready? Even children are known by the way they act, whether their conduct is pure and right. Proverbs 20:11. Ready? One more time. Even children are known by the way they act, whether their conduct is pure and right. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 11. All right, I'll see you in just a moment. We're going to read our story. Hi everyone, we're picking it back up where we left off on our story about Jesus, and he has some sad times and hard times ahead of him as we get closer to Easter. But remember that Easter is a happy, happy day. So we've got to get through the sad stuff so we can get through to the really cool, amazing miracle that's going to happen. All right. So what happened last time in our story? Who remembers? That's right. Jesus rode on a donkey and people put palm branches down for the donkey to walk on. And yes, Jesus came into Jerusalem just like a king would. Yes, it was Jesus' last supper he had with his friends. But somebody was mean to him. Do you remember who that was going to be mean to him? His name was Judas. And we've got to find out what happens next in our story and what Judas was getting ready to do. Jesus and his three closest friends, Peter, James, and John, went outside after supper to a garden near some olive trees. Stars shone brightly in the sky, and the air smelled sweet. Only he knew that the world would soon change forever. Wait here, Jesus told his friends. He went alone into the garden to pray. Father, please, he said, isn't there another way without so much suffering? I don't want to be separated from you, but Father, I will do whatever you want. There was no other way. Jesus knew that God would have to lay all of the sins of his children on Jesus' shoulders to save them from punishment. And for those hours while Jesus suffered, he would be separated from God the Father he loved, because sin has no place with God. That would be the worst. But Jesus would do it to save men and women and boys and girls from God's judgment. Then he heard the clanking of the soldiers' swords and smelled their torches burning. They pushed into the garden with Judas leading them. Judas showed the guards which man was Jesus. So Judas showed the soldiers who Jesus was, and the soldiers arrested Jesus, even though he didn't do anything wrong ever. Soldiers dragged Jesus through the streets to Jerusalem's leaders. Are you the Son of God? They asked. I am, Jesus said. Liar, they shouted. How dare you disrespect God by saying you're his son? Soldiers whipped him and beat him and spit on him. They made him wear a purple robe and a crown made of sharp thorns. And they made fun of him. Now you look like the King of the Jews, they laughed. But Jesus hadn't done anything wrong, and he knew it. But this was all part of God's plan. When the soldiers came, some of Jesus' disciples were afraid and ran away. Others, like Peter, hung around to hear what was happening. Peter was warming himself by a fire when a servant girl asked him, "Aren't you one of those guys who was with Jesus?" "No," Peter said, "it wasn't me." Another girl asked, "Are you sure? You look like him." "It wasn't me," Peter said. More people came up. "We're pretty sure that you're that guy." "I don't know Jesus," Peter lied. "I've never known Jesus." Then the rooster crowed, "Cock-a-doodle-doo!" And Peter ran away and cried and cried. Do you remember that Jesus told Peter that Peter was going to lie and say that he didn't know Jesus 3 different times? Yep, and it happened, didn't it? Yep, it sure did. People didn't understand. Jesus was God's perfect Son, sent to earth to save them from their sins. The leaders brought him to the Roman governor, who put Jesus on trial. Many people were against him. "Crucify him," the crowd shouted. "Kill him, nail his hands and feet to a big wooden cross." Jesus didn't deserve this. He had spent his time on earth loving and caring about people, helping them to know about his Father in heaven, and telling them the right way to live so they could one day live with him. Dying on a cross like a criminal was a sad but very important part of God's big plan, and Jesus would do it. He wasn't a criminal, but he would die like one. The soldiers built a heavy wooden cross and nailed a sign to it that said, "Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews." They were making fun of him. They marched Jesus through the streets, and they made him climb up a big hill, and the hill was called the Skull. And then they nailed Jesus to the cross. They also crucified 2 criminals with him, one on his right and one on his left. And this is Jesus carrying the cross up to the big hill. It was so painful, but Jesus still prayed, "Father, forgive these people because they don't understand what they're doing." "Why don't you save yourself?" Someone laughed, and of course Jesus could have saved himself if he wanted to. A crew of angels would have rushed down from heaven to rescue him if he had asked. But instead, Jesus chose to stay there on the cross and die to save all those who believe in him. No one could love as much as Jesus. Then it happened. God poured all of his people's sin in the past, now, and forever into Jesus' heart. "Father," Jesus cried, "don't leave me." But God had to turn away from all the sin, and Jesus felt all of the dirt of the sin and the anger of his Father that came with it. But it wasn't his sin, it was our sin. Now, sin is when we do things that are wrong, and we know that they're wrong when we do them. Now, Jesus felt it and suffered for it so that we wouldn't have to. Right then, at that very minute, the world changed forever. Now God's people had hope by asking God's forgiveness for their sins and believing what Jesus had done for them, their hearts could be made clean, and they could live in God's perfect heaven forever, as long as they did what Jesus had taught them. At noon, an eerie, dark cloud filled the sky and hid the sun. Powerful lightning and thunder jerked across the sky. God's mighty anger at sin came down. The earth shook ferociously. Huge rocks shattered and split, and the sky swirled with dark, scary colors. "Father, I give you my life," Jesus said. Then he looked up toward heaven and cried out, "It is finished." And he died. And it was finished. Jesus had done it. He had taken on himself God the Father's anger and the punishment that was meant for us to save us from our sins. This is the sad part of our story. Jesus had to die, but don't worry, because the best part, the happiest part, the most amazing part is coming up next. And I will see you again soon.